In this video, I will talk about the king of the hill SEO strategy. In gist is how we can use Reddit to find blue ocean content idea. The idea here is that the search engine is pretty crowded, right? Whether it's search engine or whether it's LM. And the newcomers to this space often think about like, hey, all the content that can be written about, has been written about, and has been ranked for. So how can I actually go out there and rank for something for my own content? And the idea here is actually to find the blue ocean, right? Find spaces, pockets of spaces that you can weasel your way in and be number one in that space. And typically we talk about the blue ocean versus the red ocean strategy. Right? In the blue ocean, where you are the only person in that space, then you naturally can rank number one. Even though there are more authoritative domains that are talking about topics adjacent to what you are talking about. And the idea here behind why this is called the king of the hill strategy is that you'll be the first to actually plant the flag there and say that, hey, I'm the king of this, these topics, and it's definitely easier for you to defend yourself from the number one position than to actually fight your way from page 8 and getting onto page 1, and from there trying to get to position 1 2. So the strategy here is very different. So it requires a different approach than the traditional SEO keyword research and approach, right? So in this video, I'll show you the exact strategy that I use and how you can do the same. And towards the end of the video, I can show you how the research actually connects to the rest of the process of my content writing process, and how you can actually scale it up, to a much higher volume from there, and actually start ranking at different keywords and different topics. So the first up is, we rank. For those of you who do not know, I run this blog called Blog. Basically, it's a content management systems for Next.js ecosystems, and we use our primary driver is actually the our organic search, right? A lot of our content actually get ranked for things related to Next.js and web development and React, and people actually convert to paying customers from there. So to give you a brief idea of what's on my Google console, you can see that there are a few things that I rank for, and this brings in hundreds of clicks to maybe even thousands of clicks in the case of this huge win over here. So you can see this is the result in the last 28 days, and almost you can see that our blog actually brings in literally thousands, 9,000 over traffic, right? And it's not using direct keyword search, direct name search. So over here you can see there are various articles here. Some of them are actually new to this space, right? And these are the ones that I want you to focus on. Take a look at this one, client versus cursor. So it's a new IDE. The AI IDE conversation has just started, and people have just been debating about it. So this is one of our huge win over here when we search for client versus cursor. You can see like my results is actually the first one aside from like Reddit and usually the Google AI overview, right? And aside from there, Next.js 15 is actually one of the newest framework that just came out from Vercel. So if you search Next.js 15 API get, right, you can see that my results actually get ranked right after Next.js, which is the most authoritative site in this topic. And even then, I'm still getting about like 800 clicks in a month. So that's also a new framework. Next.js 15 Favicon is also a new framework. NX versus Turbo Repo is also something as some of the new mono repo toolings that developers are starting to look at, and this is also very new to the space as well. And React Router 7, being launched, what's new and what's breaking. Now this is also something that was new, that was launched maybe a month or two back. And you can see the top drivers of the top 5 drivers to my site are actually content in the space where no one exists before a month ago, right? Um, and that is actually what underpins most of my strategies here. So um, we the one of the strategy that we use is actually to publish content by being in the first in that category, and we don't actually need you to be in the space of like something that's ever growing like developer tools or AI for that matter, right? Because given any space, when you go deep enough, you would actually find ideas, right? And I think Paul Graham actually talks about this in a lot of his blog posts, right? If you just search Paul Graham fractal, you can actually see that there's actually a lot of conversations about fractal, and I would actually recommend the super linear returns and how to do great work. But let's take a look at how to get new ideas, right? I think he talks about fractal in this case, right? Knowledge grow fractally. From a distance, its edge looks smooth, but when you learn enough to get close to one, you'll notice that it is full of gaps. And these gaps can seem obvious, right? It would seem, inexplicable that no one has tried or wondered about why. Try X or wonder about why. In the best case, exploring such gap you a whole new fractal path. And that's what startups do. And that's what we do in terms of content as well. We want to dive into the area where people haven't really dived deep into yet. And one of the ways that you can get into it is to figure out like what are people talking about or wondering about, but actually have not created content or haven't created a startup or created anything around it yet, right? And how that's the intuition behind this idea. And one of the best place to search for this kind of signals, right, or start mining for all these things is actually looking for groups of people who are interested in certain topics. Talk about the topic, because the groups of people talking about the topic can usually open up new gaps for you to look into, right? So one such community that is online, that is open, that's free, is actually Reddit, right? And that's how we actually use Reddit, which is a great platform for people to talk about various different topics, and they organize nicely using subreddits, right? So we use Reddit to actually source for signals to generate content idea. So I'm going to show you how we do it, right? So we actually monitor a few Reddits. So if you do Reddit slash r slash let's say computer vision, right? You can see there's a lot of different discussion about computer visions, right? Another one, let's talk about Next.js, something that I actually get a lot of content ideas from, right? So a lot of people are very passionate about the topics on this platform, and what you want to do is to find out what are people talking about and identify gaps over here, right? So a few things that you want to take note of when you're reading anything on this platform or any discussion platform at all. Or it can even be group chats like Discord, Twitter, and Telegram groups, right? Note for a few things. The first one, if you look for pain, right? What are people feeling painful of, right? So let's take a quick look at this, right? So next stocks are very advanced. I thought a course would be enough, but unfortunately no. I need to check on React docs and other concepts. So that's painful, right? I cannot just grasp one technology. I need to understand other technologies and other core concepts. So something tells me, hey, could I actually put together a bundle of like, oh, besides this, you got to check that as well, right? Let's take a look at other things, right? What should I know to do more than just the essential minimum of SPA, right? Should I take things slowly or try gathering all the pieces together? Thanks for any help. And sometimes the post itself, it's not just is not only the only place you can mine for ideas, but also the comments, right? So you learn about next by building personal website. Oh, you can think about, oh, recommendations, building personal websites, so you can learn by doing, right? So initially could we start off simple by using file routing so that you don't think about it. And now it's SSR Shopee backend. So could you start off with, how about let's talk about learning and then start off with simple file-based routing. And then after that, progressing to using server-side rendering with content management systems like Shopee or in my case with, right? So that gives you a very unique angle around some of these things that people recommend to one another, right? The next thing beside pain, you want to look for what we have identified here, solutions, what people are suggesting to one another, and also other resources. So sometimes you see people, give a link, right? So uh, those are the ones that you want to look at, and you can see in this case, the original poster obviously have not looked at this link, so this could tell you that perhaps this is new and people have not been suggesting this anyway, right? So, and over here you can see this is another pin, right? Next.js is becoming too over engineered. Start to move my app to Red Router V7. Next.js was and probably still a good option if you are looking for solution, a fast solution that works well with also, right? If you want to be infra agnostic, oh, okay, this is an interesting keyword. Should I, double down on this, right? Uh, that gives you an idea also, right? So you want to go through Reddit reading like this. So I'm going to show you an example of how I would read these for different verticals and how we would actually mine content idea of it. So when I read through this, just now you see that I have given some comments and have some ideas over there already. So there is actually a whole process around this. Something that you guys might be interested in is to actually learn to read forums like that using a framework called Sales Safari. That's this 30 by 500 course by Amy Hoy. I think it builds a very good foundation around how you can do content research, right? It creates a good foundation for content research on how to read your audience mind. But at the end, it's on note taking. What you want to do is actually to take down all of this as notes, right? So I can show you how we can automate that later. But before that, right, let's take a look at how I would actually write a blog post for maybe these three different Reddit posts, right? So this is from R Supplement, um, and this guy is on antipsychotic, which dampens dopamine receptor. So if I don't have coffee in the morning, he feels flat and emotionless, and stopping coffee will help come off the antipsychotic more quickly. Is there something I can take in the morning that will give me the dopamine boost without the caffeine? This is very specific. You can see people talk about like dopamine boost and caffeine, but in this case, it's just he's looking for an alternative that works with antipsychotic. And the top answer, which is a single word, getting 63 upvotes, tells you something that's the most obvious, right? So, and I think everyone over here talks about the nuances of how to do this, which is great. So now you have a really good suggestions from here. And if you go down the list, then you can see, oh, there are actually other suggestions over here. L Tyros signing, right? So, yeah, right? So, Kushala, HIT, etc. So now that means I can also see if there's actually content that I can write about this. So what I'm going to do, a quick search is this. Alternative to coffee antipsychotics. Now, I'm going to look at the three results here. There's actually nothing over here that talks about coffee, caffeine, and antipsychotic. That means if you write something about it, you're going to end up here above healthline very, very quickly. And this is great. You have just uncovered a gem a crack in the matrix where you can just insert yourself in. Okay, let's take a look at another one, right? Um, let's do computer vision, right? So this is very technical. I hardly understand any of this, but let's just try reading it, right? So anyone knows if YOLO V11 weights can be converted into YOLO V9 weights, and this talks about the uni and stuff, and he's running out of hardware capacity and all of that. So initially, I would just think, hey, can I just convert um, weights between YOLO versions, right? And if you look at it, there you go. So AI overview is actually quite correct, right? Um, but the problem is that 1, 2, 3, 4, none of this actually talk about the actual weight conversion between versions, um, and they are talking about the file format, right, between within the same version. So if you were to write anything about YOLO weights at all, or hell even use this as the answer itself, right? This entire thing as the answer, you're gonna like rank page one, rank one over here, just because people are searching for this. Mm-hmm. Maybe another one, right? So we look at, so I told you Next.js is something that I write about a lot. So let's take a look at this one. So this guy is using Next.js and he's serving it on AWS S3 and he's exporting it like that. And he's getting this error on aborted 503 and so on, right? Let's see. Okay, and people talk about invalid CrowdFund cache and enable trailing slash. Okay, right. And then have you checked for more details, especially CrowdFund logs, for instance, this field. And this guy says that, hey, this is my results, and there you go. He actually come back to say, hey, you might be hitting this issue, and this issue is actually lambda limit exceeded error, right? So we look at the different limits around here. So, oh, actually, there's a lot of errors here. So this is great, but as you know, developer know, AWS documentation is one of the worst in the world. So can you do better than that? Yes, right. So let's do a quick search on if I can actually find answer to this, right? Next.js AWS S3503. No, this is on next image. This is on image. API route on plan. This could be interesting. This is AWS Amplify. Not quite, but close, right? So nothing really fits it if I'm looking at this, and all of these are very, very dated. So you can see the problem existed for a while now, and there's no new content being put out over here. So if you were to publish something, you're going to end up here, right? So three examples here where I show you how we actually can mine um, content ideas from Reddit, right? Reddit discussions, and a simple search after that to see if I were to put on the hat of someone looking for a solution to the problem, and I search for specific keywords, can I actually find what I want? And in the three cases, the answer was no, right? And if you were to write something about it, there you go, you are the king of the hill. And some of these things are not new. It's not that it is a new AI model or it's a new framework or all of it. It's just things that are put together in specific combination that people don't actually think about. If you're more a traditionalist SEO keyword researcher, you think of this as like a long tail keyword research. But the fact is, you know, besides long tail keyword combination in any random permutation, you want to find things that people actually do search for and ask about. And Reddit is such a platform that actually allows you to do that. So now what we have done is ideas generation. I'm going to show you how it's possible to actually to automate parts of this process. So what one of the things that I do is actually I pipe a lot of Reddit threads into my this pipeline where it actually do what I said, I do just now, right? Which is going into depth, reading the entire thread and trying to find. So this is talking about small business and what challenges do you face when starting it, right? You can see we start off with a pain, right? Generating leads, lead generation platform due to competition and high cost, customer retention, scope creep and client expectation, uh, pricing, acquiring customers, staff reliability, and employee attendance. Now, this is a lot of very interesting stuff like customer retention post acquisition, struggling of quality. So this is very interesting. Very few people think about starting a business as starting to buy a business first and then acquire customers, and then you have issues with customer retention. So that's a very good content idea anyway, right? So this thing actually does the mining of the pain automatically, and it looks into what are some of the keywords that people would search for, and finally recommendations on what people recommend to one another. So over here we are talking about generating leads, struggling with customer retention, scope create. So for each of the category, we have information on that too. Then from there, we actually come up with topic ideas on what we can actually write about, right? Mm. So this will give you ideas on how you can write it. Now with this idea, then the next part is actually then to write it. So if you have a process ongoing for you, then the next thing is just you can use an AI or actually have your content writer do something like that. You pass them, okay, I want something that is titled this, feel free to change it, and discuss some of the things that you want to talk about that you think can give a unique edge to it, and put in some of the inspiration so you can add in value discussions or certain content that you have, and basically start writing from there, right? So I think I've gone a little bit too deep into it. Let's do a quick zoom out on what a content pipeline would look like, and ultimately it's the question of like after you got the idea, what do you do? So basically what we do is that I generate a lot of signals from, let's say, Reddit and other platform. So this is for another video where I'll talk more about where you can get really cool ideas from besides Reddit, and we go through filtering. This process is done over here where we will actually filter, let's say, Next.js. So how I got the three topics just now was actually from here. So Next.js, JS SSG, and AWS S3. So it has been filtered with positive signal that, and just manually I thought it was more interesting than others. Another one on computer vision, you can see the question was the weights can be converted. It was also scored here. And another one I think was supplements. Right. There you go. Alternative to coffee for morning dopamine boost. Right. So during the process, you want to do basically a kind of filtering, have a manual or an AI actually filter what is useful for you and what is not useful for you before you go into the content ideation where you come up with interesting titles. And finally, the rest of the process is more related to writing, where you want to perform research on the content and the audience what's going to read it, and finally produce the content, right? That will give you a little bit of idea on what the content process looks like, which we have mostly automated in our part, right? So finally, let me move this away. So finally, it's about writing, right? So you would, if you are working with a writer, normally you just hand off to a writer, and what you talk about is that, hey, I want you to write about this topic and use this unique angle, and I want you to actually also use this Reddit source as a tool to actually help you write, and that's what we do. Once we click generate, I can show you the article. In fact, I wrote this article since I thought it was interesting. I'm going to post it on my blog right after this video. So this is actually 10 14 steps process which I'm happy to show you, like the the internals of it. So if we go look at the content workflow, right? So the prompt initially, I was saying, write an article on how to fix 503 issues on AWS, 3 serving Next.js. And the URL was what was given in the thread just now, and the discussion URL was also given just so that they can follow up on it. And what it does is that it started doing the content research and fetch all this content from the various different sources, doing its own Google search to find ways to supplement the content, and finally taking notes on how the people within this space actually talk about technology. Right. The idea here is that when speaking to developers, you want to use developer speak. When you speak to, let's say, a doctor or physician, you want to show that you're an insider and use words that only doctors use. If not, your article will not be too authoritative. They are going to look at that and say, oh, that's not written by a peer, right? So once you're done with all of this, then you have a content plan, right, where you look at, so over here you can see there's a lot of, content that's being passed around, showing you like what's inside. And finally, the output here for the content plan tells you like, oh, there's a very long content plan. And finally, only the last step, you start to write the article. So over here, you can see the article is being written, how to fix 503 issues on AWS Serving Edge 3. There you go. So different parts of the content. And finally, it ends off with like trying to find descriptions. So you can see it's suggesting a few descriptions over here. So this gives me, there you go, this article. Okay. You deploy your using AWS 3, assessing your team report frustrating blank page during navigation after user completed external actions. Workloads are filling out 503 and you're wondering what went wrong. So root cause, right? Where you need to find out at each limitation, configuration mismatch, external services, implementing solution. There you go. Now the actual solutions, exponential backoff, bucket cost configurations, CloudFront configurations, error handling logic, monitor and alerts, so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see this is because we have done very extensive research on the content, right? Then basically this is generated with very, very deep knowledge instead of like the usual like OpenAI garbage that you can see OpenAI spit out, right? So back to the process over here, you can see a lot of this, the research and content production are kind of like bundled within that step itself before like other steps gets involved, right? So so just today I've taken you from kind of like raw signal generation all the way to content productions, right? So coming back to the core of the content today, right? And just summarizing what we have learned. So the first thing is that Reddit is actually a great source of content idea. You just need to learn how to look, right? Briefly, let's start over again. Look for things, what people are complaining about, what are they unhappy about. Second, note down the keywords and other resources that people are sharing, methods, fixes, recommendations, all that, right? Because these are going into your the content later on. The next thing is that you do not underestimate the replies. Sometimes the replies are more valuable than the actual posts themselves, right? Finally, you can do a very quick search to see if, so for any ideas that you might have, perform a very quick search to see if the existing content already fulfill the need, or do you think you can do better? There's a high chance that you can find something that you can do a lot better, right? Search for those are the blue ocean strategy, where you can be the king on the hill, right? And that's how you get the content idea. And the next step is actually you will need to find for yourself a content pipeline that works for you. I know some people that use OpenAI ChatGPT with certain GPT, right? That works for them. Some of them has agents. Some of them has content team that has specific formats of like how you can get them to kickstart on writing on the topic. So you need a content pipeline that works for you. And finally, if you are looking to punch above your weight, right, you basically need to automate it. So the idea here is that with AI in place, you can actually take a step from many different angles all at once. You do not have to be stuck just writing one article at a time or publish one article a day, right? You can take multiple steps every day and actually outcompete the big giants at basically their stuff, right? You can see how some of my stuff are ranking above the most authoritative sources. So that's that. So this is how you can find blue ocean content idea and establish yourself as the king. So that's it. And if you are interested in more SEO related content, please stay tuned to more videos or blog posts that I will be publishing very soon.